Just wanted to share a story with you first. So, I sat across the doctor's table and, gave a very sheepish smile as the doctor nodded in contempt. The Ayurvedic doctor had asked me, "What time do you wake up every day? Do you exercise? What do you eat?" As I took the doctor through my typical day, I realized that I was a mess. I woke up when I felt like it, ate whatever I felt like, and exercise was a word that didn't necessarily exist in my dictionary. I went through each day along the whims and fancies of a 1-year-old. Some backstory first. Now, I was an IT professional and a mother of a 1-year-old baby boy. My life almost went on an autopilot mode. But sleepless nights, exhaustion, and a baby frequently falling sick caught up to me. My son and I took turns falling sick. My back pain was at its worst, and I couldn't think straight. I called it quits at my job, and I thought rest was all I needed. And I was resting, so I didn't really do. I'm resting, right? So I didn't really care about what I was doing. But at the doctor's that day, it gave me a wake-up call. I felt so embarrassed to just admit that my life was totally out of control. I vowed that day that I will do something about it. I will bring my life back on track and I will establish good habits and routines and will be a different person when I come for the follow-up appointment next month. I made a plan. I would wake up at 7 a.m. every day. I would meditate. I would journal. I would exercise, eat healthy. I will do all the works. I was pumped. And I was never going to be embarrassed again in front of the doctor or anyone for that matter. So day one came. I was psyched. I jumped right out of bed when the alarm rang and flowed through a perfect morning routine. Meditation, journaling, exercise, all of it. Day two, repeat. Slightly lesser energy. Day three, repeat. Slightly lesser energy. Day four, I hit the snooze button and don't remember when the alarm rang again. Day five, I didn't even set the alarm, and things were back to how they used to be. What was going on? What happened to that kick in the butt from 5 days ago? Has this ever happened to you? Have you ever tried to build some habits or just work on yourself and you're all pumped in the beginning, but then the energy just dies down slowly? All this energy you feel is like, okay, it just goes away and it just fades. Has this happened to you? Have you ever tried to start something, you have so much excitement about it and then it slowly wanes away? Yes? If yes, let me know in the chat box. Let's interact with each other during this. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, this happens a lot, isn't it? But why? Why is habit forming so hard? Turns out there is a lot of science behind all of this. Now, I spent a bulk of my last year figuring this out. And today, I can proudly say that I'm not embarrassed to go back to the doctor. I now have almost well-functioning routines. I feel in control and I'm more focused. I do a lot more than I can imagine and I bring my game on. All because I set up some good habits in my life. But it didn't take me a degree of rocket science to set it up. You want to know how I did this? Yeah, the problem that most of us face when trying to build habits is that we go about it like a chore. We aren't excited about it. We do the same thing again and again and heavily rely on our motivation to drag us through that 21-day incubation period. Well, that's how habits are formed, isn't it? You repeat an action over 21 days. But the problem is we eventually get bored and we give up. Is there a way out? Yes, thankfully. And according to my experience, the essence of building habits boils down to one word: fun. Let us explore why and how. Now, do you like to have fun? Yes? Let us know in the chat. Keep typing yes, keep typing your reaction so I can see you guys and I can actually know if you're taking away what I'm saying. Absolutely, we all love to have fun, isn't it? You know why? Because when we have fun, there is a neurotransmitter called dopamine which is released in our brain. This is a neurotransmitter, which is a feel-good chemical that controls our movement, our emotions, and our abilities to respond to pain and pleasure. Dopamine is a reward for the brain. It tells us, wow, this is good, and it propels us to do it again. So that's why when we have fun, we feel good about it too. So what does this have to do with habit building, you ask? Well, everything. Habits are all about our behaviors, repeated behaviors. And because we humans are pleasure-seeking animals, when these pleasure chemicals of dopamine are released, we get motivated to go after more. But the same activity again and again bores us. And although we start forming habits by riding on the back of this motivation wave, we crash as the tide falls. However, if we keep our dopamine levels in check, motivation becomes an inbuilt thing and it is the least of our problems. Wouldn't that be great? That we don't have to rely on how I feel today to actually do things that we actually need to do and want to do. So the next question is then, how can we get more of this dopamine thing? I, for one, would not go down the route of medicine, drugs, alcohol, to get dopamine. Of course, you can, but then the side effects are way more disastrous than beneficial. A simpler, non-toxic way for doing this is to associate our activities with pleasure and excitement and laughter. When you do such a thing like this, the mere anticipation of the event would be enough to raise our dopamine levels. So when I came across this, I was very curious to see how habit forming can be made fun. So I started experimenting with myself and I came up with a simple system, fun, F-U-N, friends, usefulness, and novelty. Now, humans are social creatures. Having company by itself makes a world of a difference. So when I worked on my habits, I felt it so much easier to go for walks when I was chatting with a friend. Or I enjoyed reading more when I shared what I read with someone else. Friends, family, groups of like-minded people, coaches, mentors, accountability partners, whoever it is, more the merrier. Having other people associated with my activities somehow just made it so much easier and so much more fun. More fun, more dopamine, more motivation. Hence the first element of the FUN system, friend. Are you with me here? Yes? Great. All right. On this message, we lost you. Am I still audible? I hope I am. Yes. All right, great. We'll move on then. Okay, so the second element, usefulness. Now, I stumbled upon this. It was more like a revelation when I was clearing my emails. So at the time, I had about 236 subscriptions, of which I opened the emails of maybe about 20 or 30. Now, I opened those that I did because I felt they were useful to me. Now, this concept I found percolated to habits too. Now, if something is useful, we actually stick to it. It is far easier to build a habit of reading if you read books that are useful to you. Now, an IT professional and performance enthusiast like me was least interested in biology, for example. And you are likely to follow through on your actions when you find meaning in it. So it was easier for me to build a habit of learning a little bit of Arabic each day rather than learning French because I lived in Dubai. So it made more sense for me to just learn Arabic. You get the point? And if it is useful, we are more naturally inclined to focus. And another aspect of usefulness is to see if a habit we are working on is actually making sense. Over time, things change, we change, and we need to keep reflecting on what we are trying to do and course correct to tweak things to what is useful at the moment. So the third part, when I initially started my habit journey and I picked up meditation as one of the things I wanted to learn, I just went to YouTube, saw a guided meditation for 30 minutes, and I did it. And I did the same thing for every day because I wanted to build a habit of getting into meditation. Now, good approach? Probably not. Because it wasn't long before my thoughts were all over the place and the meditation felt daunting rather than relaxing. So at around the same time, a friend of mine introduced me to a 21-day abundance challenge. This was designed by a well-known Deepak Chopra. As part of this challenge, so every day new meditations would be sent in a WhatsApp group, along with small tasks of writing or reflecting. Now this was new. Every day the meditation was different. It was interesting, it was exciting, and it kept me looking forward to what every day would be like. That was amazing because for me, building that habit of meditation every day then did not seem so nerve-wracking or boring. So that is the last piece of the fun puzzle, novelty. So there you have it. A simple strategy to having fun while building habits, friends, usefulness, and novelty. Do you think you can introduce any of these or variables of these into your lives? If so, which one do you think is the easiest of the lot? The fun, the usefulness, or the novelty? You can let me know in the chat box. Which actually makes sense to you? Friends, usefulness, or novelty? Great, we not say usefulness. Interesting. Cool. So the brainchild of combining these elements is an activity I called the habit game. Now this is a sort of the game combining these principles of the fun system. So it's a game of tracking your habits. Now you pick a set of habits that are useful to you and you give yourself a tick mark or a point every time you do it. So you share your scores with friends in an accountability group, all while exploring new ways of looking at habits and picking up your dopamine levels. Now the premise of this is that when you see visible progress of any kind, you immediately get satisfaction from it and dopamine kicks in. And it keeps you going for more. Now for me, this worked like a charm. I have grown as a person from that embarrassed all over the place girl at the doctor's to a more whole person today. I went from having no schedule to having slotted times for all my activities. I went from reading maybe a book or two a year to more than 12 books in less than 6 months. I went from not having exercise on my dictionary to having a daily exercise routine. And I went from feeling embarrassed to feeling empowered. But here's the thing. If I can do it, the most laziest person on earth that I like to believe I am, and if I can do it, you can. Anybody can. That's the point. You can bring your game on, you can build your habits, and you can have fun while doing it. All you have to do is find friends to back you up, find stuff that is useful to you, and find ways to make it new. So you know what? Just join the next round of the habit game to get started. I will leave a link in the chat box for the habit game, and you can join in that one. So if you have any questions about this session or anything you would like me to talk to you about, then please leave your questions in the chat box and we'll get to them there. Okay, so Linda is saying, Linda, audio is not great. What was the N one? N is novelty, Linda. So novelty is try to keep it new. Try to make something different every day rather than just doing the same old thing again and again like a chore. All right. Any other questions, anybody? I think the key to just building good habits is to be yourself, to learn something on your own, right? So because you've all been an amazing audience here and you've joined your at Momentum, you get to join my habit game for free. It's a 1-week trial of habit tracking that you can join. All right. Okay. So any tricks? Let's get back to questions now. So any tricks or variety for novelty? Well, definitely. So the example I did give was about the meditation. So if the meditation is actually new every day, if it's a different mantra that you're chanting, for example, it can actually make it a lot more fun. Also, thirdly, if you're reading a book, for example, how about mixing it up a little bit? All right. How about you read about one topic a certain day and then you read about something else that you're getting interested in. So keep all your curiosities awake. So it's not about finishing the book at one go, but about actually learning. In fact, just twist it up, right? So if you're going exercising, for example, can you actually do exercises you're having more fun in? So for example, I don't enjoy going to the gym, but I do enjoy dancing. So can I try and dance to a different song every day? So wouldn't that make it more fun for me? Yep, I hope that answers your question. All right, so Brenda has another one. So if it is a habit, oops, I lost that message there. Yep. Okay, if it is a habit, how can it be novel after a few repetitions? Well, Our brain doesn't really know the difference between newness and repeating something old. So what you can do, for example, is have, try something new for a few days and then go back and mix and match things. So when I mean something new, it doesn't have to be out of the box, innovative, crazy thing every time. It can be something that is just slightly different from what you did yesterday. Now, for example, if you're going for a walk every day, right? How about taking a different route when you're walking every day and not just going on the same track? For example, if you go clockwise, how about going anti-clockwise another day? The mind thinks you're doing something different, it actually starts enjoying it too. I hope that answers your question, Brenda. Great. Any other questions, guys? I'd be happy to answer them for you. We still have plenty of time. Awesome. All right. Is your community on WhatsApp? I see you ask for WhatsApp in the sign up form. Yes, this is a WhatsApp community, Maitan. I hope I'm pronouncing your name right. Yes. So the habit game will be on a WhatsApp group, which is a private group only for those who have logged in there. However, the group will be discarded and the numbers are totally secure. So we're not going to be leaking out to anything. Awesome. I know we kept the talk short so we can have some discussions here. So it will be great to have some of your input. So let us know what particular habits do you guys have that have any of you had trouble with? So maybe we can work together to see how we can have more fun in that element. Yeah, anybody here wants to pitch in to just share a habit that you have been struggling with that you think maybe some component of this can actually help you, but you're not sure how? All right, so when you say sleeping on time, waking up on time, oh, this is a big one. I think sleep is one of, I would like to call it the keystone habit, because something about sleep is it triggers everything else as well. So how do you get to sleep on time and wake up on time? Okay, so for that, the first thing is wake up on time. All right, this one has to be like a non-negotiable outcome for you. Okay, so for example, say you're planning to get up at 7 every day. Now, the idea is if you get up at 10 o'clock every day, don't just start jumping into I will get up at 7. Because what happens 1 day, 2 days, you might do it out of the excitement of starting something new. However, it will die down eventually. So what you could do is start back phasing your alarm. For example, if you get up at 10 o'clock, start getting up at 9:30 or 9:45 and slowly start moving back to 7 o'clock. And also another thing I love to do wake up on time is do one thing that you absolutely love doing as soon as you wake up, right? So say, for example, you love your coffee, so then wake up and have a coffee. For example, caffeine is not necessarily the most effective pick-me-up, but yeah. So if you get it, so you can actually try or in fact have an accountability partner. That also helps. So the F element as well. So say, for example, tell a friend of yours you will be up at 7. Somebody else is also getting up at 7. So then you actually call each other at 7. So it's like you have to call each other to wake each other up and check in on each other. So that way you can actually pick up that habit. So once you actually start waking up on time, your body eventually starts realizing that you're getting tired and you'll fall asleep sooner. So maybe initially you will not sleep your full 8 hours, but you definitely will start getting there because your body will know that your wake up time is fixed. So your sleeping time will also start getting fixed eventually. All right, I hope that helps. Okay, next one. We had Uday saying completing online courses is a consistent challenge, often left undone. Okay, so Uday, I have a few questions here then for you. First of all, can these be broken down into bite-sized pieces? For example, can you do a little bit of it every day? Okay, rather than just having to sit through an 8-hour course. So can we phase it out, step by step? So for example, Udemy does this really well. So they actually have modules. So I would suggest start with doing one module a day. So it's not much for you to do. It's not like it's going to get boring. And also another thing you can increase your fun element is actually try to teach somebody else what you're learning in that course. So that way you not only learn it, but you learn it twice because when you teach somebody else, you're also learning it again. And your concentration would improve more if you are teaching somebody else because you would listen more intently because you have to tell this to somebody else. Okay, I hope that helps. Right, Brenda said I struggle to write every day. I get sidetracked and doing other stuff on my computer once I log in. Great. This is a what do I say? One of the most common problems that authors have is focus. Okay, so a few things that work for me when I'm, constantly getting distracted is, first of all, try to switch off everything else on the computer. Okay, no multiple tabs, no multiple sessions. Turn off everything. Turn off notifications on your phone, or even a better, put it in airplane mode. Yeah, so you'll have some space to focus on what you're doing. Secondly, could you, increase your usefulness for this? So what are you writing about? Why is this useful? If you remind yourself the why constantly, okay, then it will be different. And the novelty comes here. So if you're writing something every day, can you jump into different chapters of your book that you're writing, for example? Okay, and also have an accountability partner again, right? So get somebody else to be doing their work while you're sitting there as well. So switch on a timer and actually turn it into a game, for example. So you switch on the timer and then go, okay, I'm going to start, say for uh, 10 minutes, okay, and I'm going to write, and you see how many words you have written that session. Do this every day and see if the number of words you're writing is actually consistent, or you're increasing or decreasing. And if you can actually make it into a visual graph or write it down somewhere where it's visible, it gives you that automatic, kick to go and try more. All right, I hope that will work for you as well. All right, so we have Kylie. Do you have any tips on recovering when you're fallen off your new habit wagon? I've done reward sticker systems for habits in the past and used friends for accountability as well. As soon as I have failure with the new habit, I feel bad about it and will sometimes throw in the towel because I ruined my streak of pitching. I didn't get the sticker. It's hard to remotivate sometimes, and I would love to hear your tips. All right. So this has actually happened to me as well. So when I started, I would be like, okay, you know what? If I do this particular habit for 21 days, I'm going to reward myself with something. All right. However, this if-then reward mechanism works for routine tasks, not creative tasks. So if you're something that you're trying to think out of the box, so, for example, writing, it wouldn't necessarily be the best motivating. So what kind of rewards are you giving at the end? So maybe the sticker, for example, if you just gave yourself stickers, maybe the stickers, you weren't valuing those stickers as much, right? So can you actually try to tweak on what else can be a good reward mechanism? Okay, and also generally enjoying the process itself should be rewarding. So what are you doing? What is the habit? So are you making it useful to you? Are you making it relevant? Are you actually having fun doing it? That in itself becomes a reward. So because you actually associate that activity with being, with feeling good about it, or your dopamine levels kick in. So again, the question would be, where are you trying to focus on? What kind of habits are you trying to build? If it is something that is pushing you way out of your comfort zone, it's not necessarily going to be the best one for you to raise back on. But a quick rule on when you do fall off the wagon is make it like a universal rule: don't miss twice. So if you fell off once, it's absolutely okay. It happens. Life happens. Things get messed up. So we can actually jump right back in. I hope that makes sense. So if you miss it once, don't beat yourself about it. It's not your fault. It's just how our brains are wired. We're just ancient in terms of how we are thinking. So it's absolutely okay if you're falling off once in a while. However, pick it up. So tweak progress. So if you can actually make a visual tracker of sorts, maybe that can help as well. All right. I hope you got some ideas there. Okay. Yes, I think Linda has an idea for Brenda, saying create a profile that only has your word processing app and no notifications or other apps available. Absolutely. So you can turn off everything. There's simple settings in your system that say turn off all notifications, and it gives you a lot of space to focus. Yep. All right, great. Nice to see Linda sharing in too. Awesome. If there's anything else we can chat about, we still have time here, so it's great. Thank you for having here. Thank you for having you guys here. So if you're interested in just working on your habits, if you think you want to give this a try, do log into the habit game as well. This is being done for free for all the Momentum attendees. I'm posting the link again. All right. Thank you everybody for coming in here. It was a total pleasure talking to all of you. It was great. I wish I could see all of you. It would be more fun that way. Okay, I hope all of you have a lot of fun in building your habits, and maybe we'll meet in another session here. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you for being here.